Hi, my name's Yasmin and I'm the DM.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I play Elora Greyvale and she is a sorceress from the province of Nephalia.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I play Ogvar Shawfort, the goat-herding, mushroom-seeking ranger from Kessig.
Hi, I'm Rick, and I play Otto, a spring sage from Hanweir sworn to the land, wandering the plain and setting wrongs to right with his ursine companion, Bojo.
In a pretty patch of woodland, having had a successful hunt, the party was pleased as punch to bag themselves a prime piece of venison. But their jolly jaunt was, of course, cut short as they blindly bumbled into an unexpected ambush, as some sort of testy tentacled triffet was intent on harming our heroes. As our sorceress got salty, she attempted to shred it, whilst Ogvar went on the offensive, as he felt the need to grab the gift given to him by Colbean, and, as a result, the rather combustible bag of boom was flung into the foliage. Back in the bay below Genric's tower, Otto's luck was also about to be tested, and subsequently took a turn for the worse. Sadly, it seemed, he was not alone in the surf. A somewhat slick and savage aggressor attacked, and as it unhinged its barbarous maw, our druid took the fight straight down its spiteful throat. Episode 169, Tree-Mendous Trebuchet.
Yeah, nice, yeah. I mean, that's... part of the reason why I've done that is because it is particularly offensive having a sea urchin down the throat. This is a particularly unguarded area of the shark. You've cast Babao Slime, which I'm just going to substitute for toxin damage. And yeah, it's certainly the way it convulses and bends. It's very much not having a pleasant time now.
I feel better about that. Probably a lot better than the shark does.
No, I mean, the shark's doing all right.
I'll see what I can do to change that.
And is that the end of your turn?
I think I've done enough for one turn, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So, next up is zooming back to the forest. Ogvar, you have just seen yourself, Elora, and Esther be battered by 3 of these tentacles, as it appears to have moved kind of closer to you, sinking into the swamp. What are you doing?
I am going to... I'm going to try and... Right, I'm just going to double check this one. I'm going to shoot 2 arrows at it. But I would like one of them to be my daily use of summoned arrow. If that is possible, can I use that and then do summoned arrow, then an attack? Or split BAB, or that's not how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. All the summoned arrow is basically you expend magical effect to have an arrow already knocked in.
Yeah, okay, but it does 2d8 bludgeoning, so it changes the attack, the damage type to bludgeoning from piercing. So
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to do a summoned arrow first. That's okay.
Okay, yeah. Roll to hit.
Right, I rolled a 5, but I have got a... Am I within 30 foot of it?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a 5 plus a 16 for 21.
Hits. Roll damage.
Okay. And that's going to be a 1 and an 8, so that's going to be 9 points of damage from that.
Okay.
Please.
Lovely.
And then the second, split BAB, is going to be All the high rolls are coming out tonight. 2 with an 11 added onto it for a 13 to hit.
13 to hit is not going to hit, unfortunately, even with the stunned status on it.
Okay, rightio. I'm not surprised at that, but we shall leave that, and Ogvar will just back up a few feet, back up 10 feet, and sort of just like, look at everyone else and say, keep out of its reach.
Okay, you are backing up. You are. As you back up, you realise you have left its range. As you attempt to move out of the way, and tentacles come out and begin to attack you with a 27 to hit you.
Yeah, that hits. Yep, definitely.
Ouch.
Yep. And dealt. What number is that? I can't see. That's a 4. 5. 8. 12 points of bludgeoning damage. As you back away, you are battered by more of these tentacles, which have almost surged out of the mass in an attempt to specifically attack you.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that the end of your turn?
Yep. Yep, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, sorry, I've missed that. Could you please make me a opposed grapple check?
Oh.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. I'm a grapple modifier to that. 6 plus a 9. 15.
32. You're grappled.
Yeah, only by a bit though.
Jump down its throat.
And okay, it won't do that until its turn. That's fine. Okay, so you are now grappled. As you've tried to back away from it, you just haven't seen some of these tentacles. They're very well camouflaged against the dark forest floor, like swampy floor, and you are grabbed. And next up is Elora.
Elora is going to quickly scan the ground. Is there a small pebble or small rock anywhere in the vicinity on the floor, or a small chunk of dense-looking wood?
High or low?
High.
Okay, yeah, you can't really find any pebbles because this is very much forest, it's very swampy, but you can find a chunk of half-rotted wood.
Right, she's going to... Can she pick up that piece of wood and get something out of her backpack? Grab something from her backpack?
Yes, I will allow you to.
Right, okay, she's going to pick up the wood, grab something from her backpack. She's going to pull out a quoll's feather token, and she's going to jam it in the rotten part of the wood.
Okay, what quoll's feather token is this?
This is the quoll's feather token tree.
Okay.
Now, if ever we wanted a screenshot, it was right there of Yaz's face.
Okay.
And what she is going to do... Yep. And what she's going to do, I'm assuming that's going to be her movement, or is that a free action?
That will be your movement to pick up the wood, get the feather token out, and jam it in.
Okay. So her attack will be to throw this piece of wood at this plant thing, whatever it is. It's kind of 5 foot away from her. Now, when it's
10 foot.
what it says is the token disappears. It says you can use this action to touch it into an unoccupied space on the ground, but she's going to make sure that the tree is well away from her, which is why she's attached it to the piece of wood. The token, when it hits the ground, the token disappears, and in its place, a non-magical oak tree springs into existence. The tree is 60 foot tall and has a 5 foot diameter trunk, and its branches at the top spread out in a 20 foot radius. It is an instantaneous effect. So she's going to throw this into the middle of this plant, so that obviously when the tree springs up, she is kind of next to the trunk, but not under it, but the creature will be.
Okay. Make me a knowledge. Do you have knowledge arcana?
I do. I'm just looking for it.
Yeah, can you make that check for me and please make it good?
That is a 17 plus 10? Yeah, 17 plus 10.
Okay.
For a 27.
Okay, you remember having seen depictions of how these tokens are used before. That when the token is touched to the ground, the tree literally springs up and grows outwards as it rises.
Yep.
Okay, so you are throwing the branch. The creature is about 10 foot away from you.
Yep.
So you are throwing the branch in.
So she's into the actual plant. Yeah.
Okay. So the trunk is 5 foot in diameter, and then the branches come out 20 foot. How much in diameter?
At the top, the branches are. Let me just check. Hang on. I've lost it. It's a 5 foot diameter trunk, and its branches at the top spread out in a 20 foot radius.
20 foot radius. Okay.
It's a big tree. It's 60 foot tall.
And where are you going?
Going?
You said you were diving towards it. What are you doing? Are you just throwing and standing there? Or?
No. I've thrown it so it is away from me, but onto the plant. So the trunk is a 5 foot diameter, so I wouldn't throw it where it was going to catch me. I would throw it so that it was more than 5 foot away from me.
Okay, right, thank you. Have you got a page reference for quolls?
No. But I have got the descriptor from the book.
Okay, can you just read it for me, please? Just need to...
Yes. It says, one use, tiny object, looks like a feather. You must be outside to use this token. Mm-hmm. It's a tree. You can use an action to touch it to an unoccupied space on the ground, and I've done that by attaching it to the wood and throwing it on the ground where the plant is.
Yeah.
The token disappears, and in its place, a non-magical oak tree springs into existence. The tree is 60 foot tall, it has a 5 foot diameter trunk, and its branches at the top spread out in a 20 foot radius. It is an instantaneous effect.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. You throw the branch with the quoll's feather token inside. The branch is quickly snapped up by the tentacles and smashed into the ground, thereby smacking quoll's feather token to the ground as well. As you smack it to the ground, a tree instantaneously erupts under the creature. At which point you realise, oh shit, as the branches instantaneously grow outwards underneath your feet and catapult you all up into the air.
All of us.
Yeah, it is.
It's a 5 foot.
Nice.
The central trunk is 5 foot. The branches which immediately erupt upwards are 20 foot in radius.
That's fine.
And also, Ogvar is attached to the ball of tentacles.
Oh no.
There was a very subtle, are you sure?
I thought it would... I thought it would spring up out the floor and the branches spread, like open like an umbrella when they get there? Like it springs out the ground?
No, it is instantaneous. Literally, a tree, straight upwards. So, you are all flung into the air. Ogvar
well, that's thrown the pigeons amongst the cats then, hasn't it, really?
I think you'll find it's
thrown
really the humans amongst the pigeons.
One way to get a bird's eye view.
So,
oh well, that should shake things up a bit.
As you are all catapulted into the air, Esther screams, "Oh!" as she goes. Elora, you are surprised and stunned when your great plan has failed, and you two are now airborne. And Ogvar, still grappled by the tentacles which are writhing around you, you know, the first thing to lift up was the tentacles. They went up, and as you watched and realised the branches were shooting out, you were then dragged upwards by the tentacles before the branches could even catch you. So, you all end up about 70 foot up in the air.
Nice.
In 3
I think Elora would shout, "Oh shit! Branching out!"
Terrible.
Thank you.
At which point, we're going to break the initiative order, and I'm going to give each of you a reaction.
Do what?
Exactly.
Oh, that's the question.
Yep.
Is anybody near Elora?
Well, I mean, Esther's in the air, Ogvar's in the air, the tentacles are in the air, everyone's in the air.
Can she reach either of them, is what I was going to say.
You might be able to get Esther, you won't be able to get Ogvar.
Right. Can I cast? If we've broken the initiative order.
Okay.
You get a reaction.
I get a reaction.
You get a reaction.
So I can cast.
Can you cast as a reaction?
If it says so.
Sorry?
Only if it says so, yeah.
If it says so. So is it a reaction spell you're looking to cast?
I was thinking of it, yeah. She's going to hesitate and think about it. So she's not... other than grab onto the branch of the tree at this point, I think she would probably grab a hand on Esther. One on Esther and one on the tree. That's what her reaction will be.
Okay, as you're coming back down, if you're trying to grab onto the tree, please make me a dexterity check. Esther will also do the same, because she doesn't particularly fancy falling to her death today. But unfortunately for Esther, it's not great. It's a 10. Ogvar, what are you doing? You are still grappled, unfortunately.
Yes, but can my reaction be traded for an action with my belt of battle?
What are the effects of the belt of battle? You want to activate it as a reaction to give you an action?
Well, it says you can... I'll have to find what it says, but basically I can get more... I can get an extra movement with 1 charge, an action with 2 charges, or a full round action with 3 charges.
If you want to use your reaction to activate the belt, you can do that.
Okay, so that will give me give me an action.
Yep.
And the action will be to use my translocation anklet to pip out of where I am.
Okay, so the translocation anklet will only get you 10 foot, but you can 100% do that. You will escape the creature's grasp. And I'm assuming you're intending to shorten your fall by going down? Or are you...
How high am I? Did you say 70 foot?
70 foot. You've all been flung...
It's 60.
Yes, but you have been flung from the floor up.
Oh, okay.
So I've still got 60 foot to fall.
Yes, essentially.
That's going to be some damage.
That's 66 worth, yeah.
66. That's I think it's the only thing I've got at the moment, so that's what we're going to go for. Yeah.
Did you want to? So
why not?
So probably a little bit metagamey, but mechanically, if you activate the Belt of Battle and expend 2 charges or 3 charges, could you get the opportunity to take an action to attempt to grasp onto a branch as you go down?
Well, the Belt of Battles give me an extra action, so I imagine the translocation. Hold on, it's whether that's an action, which I imagine it is.
I believe the translocation is a bonus action, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, searching. Where is it? An ankle short dimension. Doesn't say. Cast a level. Swift action. Swift action, yeah, swift action. So yeah, I could have a swift action and an action to grab. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I believe so. Rick, have you got any idea? Swift action?
That's a DM's ruling one, I think.
Thing,
unfortunately, I figure it kind of works, right? Yeah.
Swift action can
in 3.5
was like a reaction.
In 3.5, you could always use a higher level action as a lower action, whereas in 5e you can't. So.
A swift action consumes a very small amount of time but represents a larger expenditure of effort and energy than a free action. You can perform only a single swift action per turn. I'm going to say you can use translocation anklet as a swift action and then also make an attempt to grab onto a branch, so you can make me a dexterity check as well. Elora, what was your dexterity check?
Did you ask me to make one?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay. That's a 13 plus 4 for 17?
Yeah, okay, cool. As you begin to fall, Elora, you will be able to grab onto a branch. You probably go through a couple of branches before you manage to get a good purchase. So you will take 7 points of damage, but you manage to stop yourself from taking the full damage because you catch onto a branch and you're able to hang there. You are now approximately 40 foot up the tree. Can you please make me a strength check?
Yes, one moment.
Ryan, what was that dexterity check?
I can do it now for you. 9.
9.
6 plus a 3.
Not good.
Yeah.
No.
Stunning.
That's a 5 plus 1 for a 6 for Laura on the strength
Okay.
check, so not great.
Yeah, so although you've grabbed hold of Esther and you've managed to catch onto this branch, the momentum of Esther falling alongside of you're just not strong enough to keep a grasp of her hand, and she does slip through and carry on falling because her dexterity check was not enough either.
How close are the others to me?
Ogvar is too far away. Esther you had hold of.
Right. Okay. I can take one medium or smaller free-falling object or creature per level. No two of which may be more than 20 foot away from me. So is Ogvar within 20 feet?
Is that an action?
It's a free action. I can just do it.
Okay, yeah, Ogvar would be within 20 foot of you.
Okay, so I'm going to take Ogvar, myself, and Esther. It instantly changes the rate at which targets fall to a mere 60 feet per round. And the subjects take no damage upon landing while the spell is in effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you casting that on yourself, Esther, and Ogvar.
Yeah. if we're all within 20 feet of each other, obviously I had hold of Esther, yes. So I will cast Featherfall as an immediate reaction, basically. It's not classed, it's classed as a free action. And we can fall 60 feet, up to 60 feet per round, and when they land, there is no damage. So I can get them back down to the ground.
Okay, so the sequence of events. The tree bursts upwards. You are all flung into the air. Ogvar, you are still attached to this tentacled beast. As you're flung up into the air, Elora, you grab hold of Esther. You try and make a grab for a branch you get down. You manage to catch hold of it. And meanwhile, Ogvar uses his translocation anklet and his belt of battle to escape the creature's grasp. As both Ogvar and Esther begin free-falling, because they both miss the branches as they're going on the way down, Elora, you let go of yourself and you cast your Featherfall as a free action, and the three of you can feel almost your bodies lighten and the wind resistance grow as you begin to, your descent slows and you're able to come down to the ground at a reasonable pace. At this point, Elora, I would like you to roll 7d6, please.
Okay. 7d6.
Yep.
Oh, I think that's all of them that I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, lovely. 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18, 21, 22.
Okay. Yeah. So you, as you begin to you settle back down the forest floor, you can see this tentacled beast which is flown up in the air. It's been punted and it's very quickly come back down as it smacks into the ground about 10 foot in front of you, and you see several of these tentacles almost burst off from just a sheer impact, but it is still moving as it twitches and writhes in clearly agony at this point. And having used Featherfall, you now will spend the next round descending. So you can see below you this monster writhing and still alive somehow after that drop. And unfortunately...
Is this going to be a random where do we drop job?
No, you'll drop down in roughly the same place you were before. So unfortunately the monster cannot do anything at this point because it simply can't reach you. And Esther in midair is the same. She can't do anything. She hasn't got anything to throw. She hasn't got anything to, she's kind of, oh, thank you, dearie. I thought I was a goner then.
It's okay, sorry, didn't work out quite how I was expecting, but hey-ho.
Okay, so with the end of that round of combat, you will all touch down at the start of next round. So, in the sea, the shark. The shark is still attempting to choke down on the sea urchin because it is still lodged in its throat. So it's going to make another contested grapple check to try and swallow you whole, Otto. So if you could make a contested check for me.
Okay, it's not a 20, therefore. I got an 8 plus 11. I got 19, I think.
Okay,
like
so
that.
it got a 41. No.
Actually, it's lower than that. Either way, I'm pretty sure I'm swallowed.
Oh, no, I got a 51, sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it swallows you whole. So as you are swallowed, you will take 2d8 plus 13 points of damage. So that's a 21 points of damage, bludgeoning damage, as you are swallowed whole.
Ow.
And then you will also take a d8 plus 4 of acid damage as you drop into its stomach. So 5, 6, 7... No, maths. I can't do maths. Where's the thing gone? 9 points of acid damage. Okay, and I believe if it touches you, it also takes damage, doesn't it?
Yeah, every time
From
it
your
does a natural
babao?
attack on me, it's 1d8, yeah.
Yep, so if you want to roll that damage from your sliminess.
A huge 3 off of 2 dice, yeah.
3, okay. So that's good. Excellent.
Who for?
And
Not
that is
for
the
me.
end of its turn. It is swallowed you. What would you like to do?
Something.
Roll around and get as many spikes stuck in as I could would be the answer, I guess.
A roll around.
So you're gonna roll around.
Roll.
How many attacks do you get per turn?
The lack of sea urchin stats makes it a tad difficult.
What do you have a split BAB?
Natural, yes, I do. Excuse me. That would be a 7, so it'd be 7-2. That's how it works. Yeah, 7-2.
Okay, so you can make me 2d20 rolls with that, with your BAB plus your dexterity included for attack rolls.
Okay, well, one of them is the first one will be a 9 plus actually plus 6 plus 7. Okay, so the first one's a 16.
We'll hit because we're using touch AC. Yep.
Ooh, and the second one's a 19 on the dice, so 20. So 21.
Yeah,
Excellent.
21. Yeah. I mean, I would say touch or flat-footed because it would be considered flat-footed because you're inside of it. But your touch is lower, so yeah, 100%. You can both make those attacks. So what you're going to do for each of those attacks, you are going to roll a d20 to determine the number of spines it gets stuck with.
Okay, so the lower roll was 14.
Okay.
The second one is the second nat 20 of the night.
Ooh.
Oh, God!
Nice.
Okay.
Excellent.
Wish
So
you could
Awesome.
see
you get to roll. You are dealing some bloody damage to this shark right now. You get to roll 34d10
Yep.
34d10.
for your spine damage, and then you also make you do damage from your babao slime when you attack, don't you?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and what we'll do is we'll
Okay.
just treat that as d8. Is it a d8 standard?
Okay. Yes, D8s, yeah. 2D8, you said, yeah?
So 34d10 and 2d8.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Right.
How many?
17. 51, 60. 75. 94, 95, 113. Sorry, this is taking me a little while. 121, 125.
Math sounds it intensifies.
125, 130, 142.
You've got a biscuit. I'm hungry.
154, 156.
Did you get a little coffee in the break?
156, 166, 169. 169. 172, 179, 184, 185,
All I can hear is Rick counting.
186, 187. So the acid just did 2 damage total, but 187 in total.
187. Jesus.
Can I suggest that the shark might be trying to reevaluate its life choices this way? Certainly its dietary choices.
Yeah, I mean, you yeah. So inside its stomach, you do your utmost to roll your urchiny body round, and you are stabbing it in the walls and the walls of its stomach with your spines, and it is very unpleasant. I mean, even inside, you can feel it thrashing around, and it's almost like you're in like a washing machine at the moment. But all that happens when it thrashes around is it ends up sticking you further into its stomach, and you can tell this is a very, very unhappy shark right now. You see holes appear in its stomach wall. You can see some acid begins to escape into its body. Blood begins to flow into the acid inside, and yeah, you are tearing up its insides at this point, and you're doing some severe amounts of damage. Is that the end of your turn, or are you?
I think we might want to argue that's both my move action and my attack action, so yes, let's do that.
Okay, and back up in the swamp, Ogfar, you touch down to ground. The tentacle creature is about 10 foot away from you. It's moving rather slowly, and you can see some of the vine-like tentacles have indeed fallen off, and they lay limp on the ground where it's clearly taken some severe damage from falling, but nevertheless it's still moving.
Okay, so what I would like to do is, for the sake of mechanics, move 10 feet, still staying within the threatened range, so not provoking an attack of opportunity, and that would allow me to shoot an arrow with skirmish ability, please.
Okay, you'd only manage to...
Yeah, sort of working round.
Yeah, got it.
Circular.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're staying within, you're just moving 10 foot round to one side, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. That's going to be an 8 plus a 16 for
24.
24.
We'll hit, yep.
Nice.
Excellent. Okay, and that is going to be 4, 9, 14, 16 points of piercing damage, please.
Lovely.
Ooh.
Okay. And how would you like to do it?
Yay!
Yeah, so sort of like as he's moving around sideways, maybe like sort of stepping over a few tentacles, ones that are like just twitching and a bit limp across the floor type thing. Sort of step over them, and just brush a few out the way with his feet as he goes.
Ooh, twinkle toes.
Yeah, and then just as like the mass is sort of like convulsing, just as it sort of opens up, sort of for a tentacle to go out some way, sort of sees an opening, it like release an arrow, goes like straight in, like really deep, and all the way up to the fletching, and then it just like just stops moving and just like sort of slumps and melts.
Yeah. You see as the tentacles begin to fall away and fall limp, twitching and flopping on the ground occasionally in the kind of death throes. You can see that the creature revealed underneath appears to be strangely octopus-like, and you realise that these tentacles which begin to fall around it, there are, you say, probably about over 30 tentacles. It's a very strange looking creature, and you can see as its limbs begin to kind of flop away, you can see bits of trinkets and odd rusty dagger, some gold kind of begin to kind of fall away as it's revealed. Okay. And it is
way to
dead.
go, Ogvar! Excellent.
And you are out of...
Well done, Ogvar.
And you are now out of combat. So, finishing off the rounds of combat, we have back in the ocean the shark and Otto. The shark... Yeah, exactly. The shark is in some serious trouble right now.
You don't say.
Yeah. It is... It's in some serious trouble. So first of all, Otto, you will take a d8 plus 4 worth of poison damage. You take 6 points of acid damage. 6 points of acid damage from the stomach acid remaining in the shark's stomach. And forgot about that. What you soon realise, which the DM forgot to describe, is that as you have dealt severe amounts of damage to the shark's stomach, you realise you have managed to make an opening big enough to escape from Otto.
Okay. Not sure if I want to yet.
I mean, it can't do anything at the moment because you are inside of it. So it is going to head into deeper water, travelling its full movement speed. Actually, double movement speed. All it does is swim. So it travels 200 foot deeper into the sea. And you're up Otto. You realise there's a hole you can get out of. That is not the two pre-existing...
Out of one hole into another.
That is not the two pre-existing routes.
I think they call that out of one hole and into another.
You just said that.
I think they call it a pincushion. I'm going to wriggle around a little bit, I think.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see how many more spines I can break off.
So make two attack rolls, please.
Okay. 7 plus 2. So 17 on the first one, only 11 on the second.
Okay, 17 will hit, 11 won't. So roll your d20 for spine number. Oh god.
I may have rolled a 19.
Okay, yeah. Roll me 19 d10s, please.
Right. I'm using slightly cheating method here. Bear with me. Need to recruit some extra dice. 15, 20, 27, 37, 47, 54. 61.
I'm amazed he isn't actually using an online dice roller for that one.
No, that'd be cheating. 61.
Yeah, we don't like those.
61, 65, 72, 76,
Oh my god.
92.
And on this episode of Innistrad, Otto counts.
I get visions of the count on
Sesame Street.
Yeah.
110, 120.
1 HP.
One spine.
And my acid damage, this one dice just
spines.
equaled the total combined acid damage so far. So 115 in total.
115 in total.
Yes.
Would you like to describe it?
Ryan can describe it.
I'm not going to lie, I'm not sure that I want to describe it in anything that's vaguely close to PG, or at least not 18. Let's just suggest that the shark, in desperation, tried passing me out the other way, and lots of spikes got broken off on the way. And what comes out is a perfectly smooth little ball. Who, just because he can, will then turn back into a giant octopus and grab what remains of the shark and haul it to the surface, because these things are good eating.
Yeah. You are jettisoned out of the other end with great force. As you realise the shark has turned upside down and is gently sinking down into the briny depths of the ocean floor. You were very quickly able to turn yourself back into an octopus, grab hold of the shark, and it's a big shark. It is huge in size, and there's some really good looking meat on it, if you like that kind of thing. And you are able to begin dragging it up to the surface. You are several hundred feet away from the shore, down. So it will take you a while, but you can 100% do that.
Its insides are going to be like a colander, aren't they?
Its insides are currently its outsides.
Yeah. Excellent. So, you will spend some time doing that, Otto.
Yes.
And D&D, 1001 Ways to Die.
Or how to count to 1001 with Otto, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so back in the forest, what would you like to do?
I think we're going to have to, because there's loads of trinkets and bits and bobs, I think we're going to have to have a pick through and see what's going on, really, aren't we?
Yes. Alora sees Ogvar doing that, and then she briefly wonders where their dinner has gone. Where did their dinner go?
You see the carcass.
Where did our stag disappear to?
You see the carcass of the deer lying a couple of feet away in the underbrush. Actually, no. You
I
know
thought
what?
it was going to be about 60 foot up.
You know what? Rick.
Hanging by its antlers somewhere.
Rick, could you please high or low for me?
Hi.
High. And
Would
could
I?
you roll?
That's the problem.
Could you roll a percentile, please?
I certainly can. There we go. Let's see what we get. 43, I'm afraid.
It's a low. Okay, that's not good. That's bad. And then could you please roll me a d6?
Of course. 4.
4. Okay, you look around for your dinner. And you don't see it on the forest floor. You take a good look round, and your eyes land on the tree, the base of the tree, and as they slowly track upwards, you see dinner hung about 40 foot up in the air.
Is it wedged?
Well, I mean,
The better question is the deer well hung? Sorry.
Oh, God!
fuck's sake. Fucking.
Oh. You should have given that shark some more hit points.
Seriously.
Apparently.
But it was right there. It's low-hanging fruit. That's what you call it, right?
Elora, the deer isn't falling, so you assume it's stuck there, yes.
Okay. She's just gonna... Okay. Great. Didn't all work out for the best, but alright, okay. And she's going to turn to Ogvar and just say, "Oh, what have you found? I'll tell you what I found afterwards, but what have you found?"
Well, I'm just going to poke through and see what he's obviously, whatever it is, has picked up bits and bobs from people less fortunate than ourselves, I suppose.
You alright, Esther?
Oh, yes, dear, I'm quite alright. Thank you for the save there with that spell. That was quite handy.
Yeah, well, it didn't quite pan out how I was expecting, but, well, in the end it worked out okay, I think. And she just looks at Esther while Ogvar's back's turned and points up the tree at the dinner.
She follows your finger upwards and yes, that, yes.
Are you going to tell him or shall I?
I think you should, dearie. You put us into this situation.
Right. Okay. What did you find, Ogvar?
What did I find?
What did you find? Good question. You can roll me a 2d20, please.
A 9 and a 10.
And a 10. You find 19 gold pieces.
Nice. Okay.
And let me just find. Could you please roll me a? Let me see. What was that? 11. A percentile, please, Ryan.
Okie dokie. 69.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Any takers?
It was well
Rick,
hung.
got anything to say?
It was well hung.
Did he just say any takers? Really?
Ryan, a D10, please.
Yes, but then he mentioned Rick directly
A
after that.
D10. No problem. A 9.
Okay, and then could you roll me another percentile, please?
60. Please, God, let it be 60.
No, 48.
48.
Which is roughly the number of feet up the tree our dinner is.
Okay, so you find
Roughly.
amidst the tentacles a bloodstone,
Okay.
a carnelian,
A what?
Yeah.
a
Gemstone.
citrine,
A
Yeah.
jasper,
Okay.
moonstone, a peridot, and a piece of rose quartz, a piece of smoky quartz, and a zircon.
Okay. Are they all gems by chance?
Yeah, they're all
All
gems.
stones, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You find
cool.
9 gems.
So-
They're worth about they're worth about 50 gold piece each. They're not the super expensive stuff. And then could you please roll me another percentile?
93.
oh,
Ooh, that's not bad. Okay, can you roll another percentile for me, please?
41.
Okay, and also amidst the creature, you find you shovel its corpse around a little bit, and you find what looks to be a burrow of sorts. Clearly, where it was like at the edge of the water, clearly where it was wallowing. You find what appears to be a lyre,
A lyre, like, is that? So,
like the musical instrument. Yeah, like
Yep.
a brrrr,
yeah, it's a harp, isn't it?
basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ogvar will sort of find out. Turn around to Alora and Nestor and goes, well, I found all of these, and there's like a handful of gems and stones, and
oh, gems. Nice.
yes, do you think Orland would like to hold on to them for us?
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Yeah, I got you,
Orland,
mate.
Could we
I got
pop
you.
some more gem? Could we?
Well, good.
Oh, cool. She's just going to move her side round so that he can get to Orland and drop them in.
You get bleh, and he opens up.
And he'll also like, have another rummage around and goes, oh, I think there's something else down here. Oh, I see whether it was see where it's made its home. And then sort of, oh, turns around and I found this as well. And he'll turn around and go, bling.
Oh, that's interesting. While you've got that in your hand, do you fancy serenading that out of the tree? She points up.
Oh yes, that's why we were here in the first place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, you hold this then. And Hogbar will pass the lyre to Alora.
Alora will take it and examine it.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll see if I can shimmy up there and give it a poke, and I'll shimmy back down. Stand clear though, because it might come down pointy end first.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah. So Alora back off with the lyre.
Yep.
Can she? Oh God, not appraise it. It's not an appraise check, is it? It's. Can she sort of? What's the check I need to make on it? It's not an appraise check. We said it was something else, didn't we?
Is it your Nephalian trait?
I think it is. Like just.
Depends if it's a magic item, because you can do detect magic. Magic.
I'm just trying to think which one we said it was. It wasn't appraise. It was something else.
To do what?
Oh, she just wants to see what kind of item it is. Yeah, I mean, she's
It's
going
an
to use her
appraisal.
Nephalian trait to try and... Yeah, well, it's like an appraisal, isn't it? But appraisal usually does value. It's...
Yeah, but your Nephalian trait lets you understand more about the item.
It does, yeah. I think she would just use her natural Nephalian trait to examine the item, see
Yeah.
if she can figure out whether it belonged to somebody, was there a name on it, or, what exactly,
Okay.
is it just,
You examine the item itself, and the first thing that strikes you as odd is clearly this has been submerged in damp, mucky ground. Yet it shows no signs of wear or tear. It shows no signs of decay. The strings are still tight, and it is still perfectly in tune, despite it clearly having been held in this monster's lair, almost. You are pretty sure that this is a magical item.
okay.
And if you want to know any further, I will require you to make an appraisal check on it. Or a knowledge arcana, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, I think she would do that, obviously, while Ogvar is climbing the tree. I think that's something that she would do during that process.
Okay. So do you want to make that check for me now?
Yeah, can do. So, an arcana check. Okay, let's go for it, see what happens. Okay, that's a 16 plus a 10 for a 26 in total.
26 in total. Yeah, that's pretty good. So you recognise what this item is, actually. Having taken a closer look at it and brushing some of the dirt which has clung onto it off, you'd recognise this as a particularly rare item in the world. It's highly sought after. Even Casper has only ever seen a similar item once. And you know that this is a lyre of building. If the proper chords are struck, a single use of this lyre negates any attacks made against all inanimate construction. If the proper chords are struck, a single use of this lyre negates any attacks made against all inanimate construction, walls, roof, floor, and so on, within 300 feet. This includes the effects of a horn of blasting, a disintegrate spell, or an attack from a ram or similar siege weapon. The lyre can be used in this way once per day with the protection lasting for 30 minutes. The lyre is also useful with respect to building. Once a week, its strings can be strummed so as to produce chords that magically construct buildings, mines, tunnels, ditches, or whatever. The effect produced in but 30 minutes of playing is equal to the work of 100 humans labouring for 3 days. Each hour after the first, a character playing the lyre must make a DC 18 perform string instruments check. If it fails, she must stop and cannot play the lyre again for this purpose until a week has passed.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, I think she would reach round and say, Orland,
Yeah.
I've got something really special here. It's a magical item. Could you look after it for us, please?
Yeah, sure thing. Blech.
Thank you. She'll pop that into Orland.
Yeah, he swallows it down. It makes kind of a brum sound as it goes. Okay, so Ogvar, your tree.
And she's going to return her gaze up to Ogvar.
Exactly. Ogvar,
My tree.
your tree. How are you climbing it?
Carefully.
Yeah, poorly probably. I'm going to get the rope and sort of sling the rope round it and sort of do what they do, like they get the rope and they tie it around the back and sort of try and dig his heels in and try and sort of work his way up with hopefully using my climb modifier.
Yeah. Make that check. You can either use climb or use rope.
We'll go with climb.
Excellent.
That's going to be a 12 plus a 7 for a 19.
Oh.
Yeah,
Tiny.
you do a pretty good job. You're able to climb up the tree. I'm not going to make you make checks every 10 foot. You're able to climb the tree. You're able to use the branches once you get high enough. And you eventually get up to the stag and you're able to kind of lean back and give him a good shove and he falls off. And he lands 40 foot on the floor with a wet thump as you hear multiple bones breaking. The meat is tenderised.
Look out below.
Oh, yeah. Esther, I think that's going to be well tenderised.
Oh yes, dearie. Venison burgers for all.
Now that sounds attractive. You're right up there, Ogvar.
Oh yes, quite okay. I'm going to come back down now.
I can't hear you. You have to shout.
Can I see the boat from up here?
I can see the pub from
Yeah.
here. Oh no, sorry.
Yeah,
I can see my house from here.
you can see the boat. You are 40 foot up. The trees in this area are probably about 10 foot max. You are free and clear of the tree line, and yeah, you can see the boat.
Oh, cool.
It's
Can I see Eric?
You're a little too far away to see Eric, particularly. You do think, however, you can make out the slightly translucent form of Paul, but then again, it could just be a bit of low-flying cloud.
Okay. So, yeah, he was sort of go, well, the boat's still where we left it, so let's make our way back there, I suppose. It's over, and he'll point. It's over that way.
Kester, can you see what he's pointing at? I can't hear what he's saying.
Well, I'd assume it's the boat, dearie, seeing as that's where we left it.
Oh, I'd almost forgotten that. Yeah, okay.
Ogvar's looking down, and he's like making like little wave motions, and
Laura's just going to give him the thumbs up.
so yeah, he's going to come back down now.
Okay, yeah, you make your way
Gracefully.
back down. You make your way back down. Is there anything you want to do? Or are you continuing hunting? Are you going to try and find some roots or herbs? Or are you just heading back to the boat and then looking to collect Otto?
Yes, we will look for some vegetation, I suppose.
Yeah.
And whilst doing that, could Ogvar use, while he's rooting around in the undergrowth, use his nature's gift to heal up 1d12 once a day, please?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use your gift. You find some. I mean, you don't even have to go for like an edible plant. You could just go for like some grass and just start chewing it straight off the floor.
Look at it go, think back to Q and go, chives.
Sorry, delayed reaction there.
Yeah. So yeah, you're able to make me a survival check. In fact, Laura, you can make me a survival check as well, please.
Oh.
At this point, Otto, I'd say probably enough time has gone past where you're able to kind of reach the shore. You can drag the shark's corpse above it onto the shoreline. You can see that some of the fish you've caught previously, although you've kind of tucked them away, you can see maybe a couple are missing where some very industrious seagulls have swooped down and taken some of your catch. But you're now back on the shoreline. What would you like to do?
I think I've done enough fishing for the day. I just don't fancy it anymore for some reason. I think it's a case of opening up the shark, starting to strip it down, get some flesh off of it. I'm actually probably thinking about it. Just do that back in the kitchen because otherwise it's going to get all sandy. Yeah, it's going to have to use one of its remaining wild shapes to turn into a troll for a little bit. Luckily, people have seen him do this before, and drag the successful hunt's worth of stuff up to the tower, I think.
Yeah, sure, you can do that. You drag your catch, and yeah. I mean, Eric went with the rest of the party, so it's just you and Genric, and Genric isn't anywhere to be found. So yeah, you just start carving up the shark and the fish and making fillets and stuff you're able to preserve, basically.
Pull the spines out of it.
Yeah, pull the spines out of it. That's probably a good place to start. Okay, so survival checks. What were the results of that one?
It was a 12 minus 1 for Laura for an 11.
Okay.
It was a 9 and a 14 for a 23 for
Oh,
Ogvar.
much better.
Yeah, so as you're kind of making your way vaguely back towards the ship, you're able to find some kind of wild root veg, like things like wild carrot, wild garlic, some other plants like wild mint. You find plenty of chives. They're all over the place. And other edible berries and bits and bobs and nuts. So you're able to find like a decent kind of wild veg fruits to supplement your stores. And Ogvar, seeing as you had such a nice score on the table, could you please, on the roll, could you please roll me a d20, please?
No problem. 17, please.
A 17, lovely. So as you are rustling around, you are in this kind of swampy forest area. So it's quite wet underfoot. But you find, as you are rustling around, a cluster of 3 tall, dark purple mushrooms which have a conical cap and a glossy surface.
Just for out of character knowledge, you just tell me what they are so I know where they are in the book.
Yeah, they are on page... What page am I on? That's a good bloody question. Page 18, Nightshade Cap.
Cool, thank you very much. I will unroll his little... I don't know what it's called, his herbalist's kit, and find like a nice little compartment for me to live in and just pop them in there, roll it all back up. Which takes a lot longer to roll it back up than it did to roll it out, because obviously it extends greater than what it is. So
when Ogvar extends his roll of herbalist kit, before he rolls it back up, Laura would put a hand on his shoulder. Ogvar, would you like the rest of your mushrooms? There are still some that Orland's got. Would you like to put them all in one place, maybe?
oh yes, that makes perfect sense. Now I've got this, it'd be an ideal place to keep them.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. She'll just pop Orland onto the floor, open up the front of his bag flap, and she'll start rooting around and just pull out the various mushrooms that are in there. There's some starshrooms, some mead boon mushrooms, mushrooms, some guylians, and there's various other bits and pieces that are in there. So she's going to take them out of Orland's inventory and hand them over to Ogvar to stow, so he's got all his mushrooms in one place.
Excellent, yeah, you can do that. And Ogvar, while you're busy doing that, could you also roll me another survival check, please?
No problem. It's going to be a roll of 5 with a plus 14 for a 19.
Perfect. As you are now on the floor starting to tuck these mushrooms away, Elora kind of hovering over you, handing you mushrooms to pop in, you notice at the corner of your eye a vaguely something kind of yellowish which is standing out from the leaf litter on the floor. And you realise it's another mushroom, basically. There's a cluster of about 6 of them. Pale yellow with a flat disc-shaped cap. And you get the strong smell of like a very garlicky smell. And for reference, this is also page 18, Orzo's Kiss. And
Thank you.
to kind of cap off, and pardon the pun, cap off the session,
Hey!
when you do look up these mushrooms, Ogvar, at whatever point, you know that the nightshade cap is has the effect of inducing hallucinations and confusion as per the spell Confusion Lesser for 1d4 hours. And it is a component of Dust of Confusion. The other mushroom you found, Orzo's Kiss, when boiled, it breaks down into smaller grains, and if served with tomato-based sauce with ground meat, forms a tasty dish. Upon consumption, you become violently Italian for 1d10 minutes.
Okay.
You become violently Italian. Was that just making sure I understand that?
Violently Italian.
Yes. Nice.
Whatever Italian is in Innistrad.
Mamma
I
mia!
suspect.
Mamma mia! You have found some mushrooms. My mother was Italian. She would have gone mad at that.
Okay, so after you
Excellent,
finish packing up the mushrooms and all sorts, you head back to the ship where Paul and Eric await you. You're able to board, and you're able to take the ship back to the tower. The sun is beginning to dip down low, and when you reach outside the tower, you can see. The first thing you see is a vast conglomeration of seagulls and other seabirds buzzing around the tower. And as you get closer, you realise that it's because Otto is outside gutting fish, and he's quite helpfully kind of chucking the offcuts over the side of the cliff, and the birds swoop down and take pick up the scraps. And yeah, it's you see that Otto's had a very good catch, judging by the size of the shark that he is currently dissecting.
Welcome back. Any luck?
Ogvar will have the stag on his shoulder and sort of just plop it down on the deck and well, yes, ultimately, yes, we ended up with what we wanted. It was a few little bumps in the road along the way, but yes, not too bad. You seem to have done well.
Yeah, just a case of using the right bait, I guess.
Oh, yes. Not much of a fisherman myself, but what bait did you use?
Something old and leathery.
Oh, like a tough old boot.
Yeah. Speaking of which, hang on, I might still have one of mine back in there, and he will go looking forward and go through the stomach to see if there is still a trace of his boot in there.
You find your boot. There's now a hole where the big toe goes.
Oh well, kind of used to that, I guess, and he'll just pour out any liquids that are inside and stuff it on his foot. Yes.
I think Laura would stand over and look at the hole in his boot. I think she'd just cast mending on it for him.
Yeah, you fix the hole in his boot.
That's very convenient. That's a good trick. I like that trick.
I do try.
Well,
It's one of my better spells that's worked out for the day. Not all of my ideas have been terrific, but, it was a bit of a mixed bag.
I may have made a few mistakes myself, but it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, that's true. It did work out in the end.
And that's where we'll leave it.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Az. It was fun.
Very good.
As Laura decided to start flinging her feathers about, some unforeseen side effects were brought to bear. A violent vertical trajectory was the root cause of the chaotic scene that was the next challenge our companions faced. Yet more feathers were to be a feature as the sorcerers slowed their rate of descent, thus saving all bar their perennial perp from a punishing landing. And, as our scene switched to a seascape, Otto was nurturing his more prickly side. With great efficacy and with devastating damage done, he took a direct route along Main Street to his goal through a hole. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you all next week for episode 170. Hey, you made it this far, so lend us your ears for a moment longer if you will. Firstly, we are most humbled that you are enjoying our yarn, and the crew thank you from the bottom of their hearts for your patronage. Producing this podcast is incredibly hard work, and as such, if you would like to support us, there are a few ways in which you could really make a difference. Sharing links to friends and family helps to spread the word so others like you can find us, and in turn they too can enjoy the show. Equally helpful is leaving a 5-star review on Spotify and any other streaming services, which will help us immensely. Or, if you feel you could go that extra mile and contribute a few coppers to keep our creative juices flowing, you can hop on over to our Buy Me a Coffee page or drop us an email. We would all be immensely grateful for your support in any form. Lastly, we invite you to visit our website, where you will find information on our campaign from backstories to settings. Join our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter. All the links are in our episode bios. Don't forget to smash the subscribe and download buttons so you never miss the next episode. See you all again next week, folks.